Good afternoon, everybody. Anthony Aniano here from RotoBaller Radio and RotoBaller.com with our Week 9 sleepers and value plays. Folks, don't forget, head over to RotoBaller.com right now. Sign up for any of our premium passes. Use the promotional code ACES and save at checkout. Whether it's lineup optimizers, team sync tools, waiver wire reports, trade analysis, you name it, RotoBaller.com has you covered. Don't forget, like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. And download the RotoBaller app. It is free. 6 sports, all in the palm of your hand. DFS or season-long formats. Take advantage of that RotoBaller app. All right, everybody. So Week 9 of the Sleeper and Value Play. Recording this on Thursday night, November 2nd, right before the Thursday night kickoff. So we'll focus on the Sunday and Monday night matchups here. Obviously, things can happen. Injuries can occur late in the week, so apologize if any of that happens. Keep in mind, too, Week 9 includes 4 teams on a bye: the San Francisco 49ers, Detroit Lions, Denver Broncos, and Jacksonville Jaguars. We know we had injuries at the quarterback position last week. Kirk Cousins, season over. Matthew Stafford, currently listed as doubtful to play. Other injuries at other positions as well. Darren Waller at the tight end position is going to miss some time, so just be mindful of all of that. So we'll start at the quarterback position, and I'm taking a deep dive here, and some of you may think I'm crazy. And maybe it's only for a DFS type of situation that you're willing to go there. But that being said, Zach Wilson of the New York Jets, priced at $4,800 on DraftKings, averaging just under 12 points per game in that DraftKings format. Last week finishes with 14.1 points against the New York Giants. And, he was terrible until the very end of the game. He's shown some moments. The end of the Giant games, the game against the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, well, this week he plays Monday night against the Los Angeles Chargers. And that's just a get right for any quarterback in the league. The Chargers are currently ranked 32nd in the league against opposing QBs. They're allowing 27.7 fantasy points to the quarterback position on average, having already allowed 12 passing touchdowns and 320.7 passing yards per game. Zach Wilson, the numbers line up for this to be Zach Wilson's best game of the season as the Jets continue to win, sitting at 4-3. At the running back position, 2 running backs to be mindful of. Jerome Ford of the Cleveland Browns against the Arizona Cardinals. Played in a limited role last week due to the ankle injury. Should be good to go this week. He's $5,300 on DraftKings, averaging 13.1 fantasy points per game. In 4 of his 6 games this season since taking over, since the Nick Chubb injury, he's averaged over 11 fantasy points a game. Okay, now remember, last week wasn't a great game. Slowed. Kareem Hunt had a bigger role. Arizona Cardinals are 30th in the league against opposing running backs, allowing 28 PPR points per game to the running back position. They've allowed 12 total touchdowns to running backs, 8 on the ground and 4 through the air, and allowing 130.6 rushing yards per game. My second running back to be mindful of this week, Darrell Henderson of the Los Angeles Rams against the Green Bay Packers. I know Royce Freeman stole the touchdown last week, but Darrell Henderson did have 3 catches for over 50 yards. He's $5,100 on DraftKings, averaging 12.6 points per game in that DraftKings format. Now, the Rams are down their quarterback. Brett Rippon will be most likely the starting quarterback for the Rams. They could lean heavily on the run game against the Green Bay Packer defense that is pretty good against the pass, but terrible against the run. They are 27th in the league against opposing running backs, 25.2 PPR points per game to the running back position, with 6 rushing touchdowns allowed already this season. Green Bay Packers allow 132 rushing yards per game. With the Rams down the quarterback, it could be checkdowns to Darrell Henderson. It could be plenty of run work for both he and Royce Freeman. At the wide receiver position, 2 players to be mindful of here. Tank Dell of the Houston Texans. Texan offense disappointed last week. I don't expect it to happen 2 weeks in a row this week against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tank Dell is at $5,300 on DraftKings, averaging 12.2 points per game. He's kind of come back to earth a little bit since coming back from the concussion, but it's a nice matchup against the Tampa Bay Bucs, who are 24th in the league against opposing wide receivers. Tampa Bay allows 38.5 PPR points per game to the wide receiver position, including 6 passing touchdowns to wide receivers of the 8 passing touchdowns they've allowed already this season. Tampa Bay does allow 271.3 passing yards per game. With Dameon Pierce on the injury report, this could be a C.J. Stroud, Nico Collins, Tank Dell show for the Houston Texans. Second wide receiver to mention, very inexpensive on DraftKings, Demario Douglas of the New England Patriots. Expected to step up in the absence of Kendrick Bourne, who tore his ACL last week. Demario Douglas is only 4,000 on DraftKings, averaging 6.2 points per game on the season. He's got 19.3 points in a DraftKings format over his last 2 games. Almost 10 points per game, and that was with Kendrick Bourne. Over those 2 games, 9 receptions on 13 targets for 79 yards. It's going to be Demario Douglas. It's going to be Juju Smith-Schuster. While people are looking at Schuster, you could pivot easily to Demario Douglas against the Washington Commanders defense that is 31st in the league against opposing wide receivers, allowing 42.2 PPR points per game to the wide receiver position. The Washington Commanders have allowed 18 passing touchdowns already this season, 13 of them to the wide receiver position, and 270.5 passing yards per game. This is a nice opportunity for Mac Jones to get his wide receivers involved, and I expect Demario Douglas to step up. Keep in mind, Washington traded their 2 best defensive line, 2 best pass rushers in Chase Young and Montez Sweat. So go ahead and load up your Patriots passing game, as Mac Jones should have time to throw, and already people have been able to throw on this Washington defense. And finally, at the tight end position, 2 tight ends, and I wasn't expecting to talk about 2 tight ends, but DraftKings prices kind of caught me off guard. So the first one I wanted to mention, and in a season-long league, I think he's already starting, but I need to mention the fact that Dalton Keke is only 3,700 on DraftKings, averaging 8.8. I thought I couldn't read my handwriting there for a second. 8.8 points per game on the season. Now, keep in mind, last week, okay, he finished with 17.5 points. 2 weeks ago, 15.5. So, that 8.8 is brought down by when Dawson Knox was still healthy and playing. Without Dawson Knox, Dalton Keke has kind of taken off with over 32 fantasy points over the last 2 weeks, including 13 catches for 140 yards. Buffalo goes up against the Cincinnati Bengal defense that does not defend the tight end well. They're allowing 15.7 points per game to the tight end position, including 4 touchdowns to tight ends. Cincinnati's only allowed 8 passing touchdowns on the season. Of those 8, half of them have gone to the tight end. Dalton Keke, I didn't expect to bring up Dalton Keke today, because in season-long leagues, everybody already knows how valuable he has become over the last 2 weeks. But nonetheless, DraftKings still has him, I think, underpriced at $3,700. Second tight end I did want to mention is Donald Parham of the Los Angeles Chargers against the New York Jets. Gerald Everett, currently listed as questionable, might play. I know he practiced last Friday, but then game time decision kept him out Sunday, so he may still be active. But I want to take advantage of this Jets defense that has allowed the most passing touchdowns to opposing tight ends. Parham has 4 passing touchdowns. He is a favorite of receiving touchdowns. He is a favorite of Justin Herbert's in the red zone. He's only $3,200 on DraftKings, averaging 6.8 points per game. He finished last week 4 catches, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Now, some will say he's touchdown dependent, and that's fine this week, I think, against this Jets defense. Jets 26th in the league against tight ends, 13.8 PPR points per game to the tight end position. However it plays, he could take some of that. But Jets have allowed 5 passing touchdowns to opposing tight ends, the most in the league. They've only allowed 8 passing touchdowns all year, 5 of them to the tight end position. So if you're looking to save in draft on DraftKings, $3,200 for Donald Parham could be a flyer that pays off. So to recap, my Week 9 sleeper and value plays: quarterback, Zach Wilson, New York Jets; running back, Jerome Ford, Cleveland Browns; Darrell Henderson of the Los Angeles Rams. At the wide receiver position, Tank Dell, Houston Texans; Demario Davis, New England Patriots. And at the tight end position, surprisingly, Dalton Keke of the Buffalo Bills and Donald Parham of the Los Angeles Chargers. All right, everybody, as always, thanks for watching. Give me a follow on Twitter at @Aniano Fantasy, and we'll see you next time right here on RotoBaller Radio.